Small towns have a way of hiding big stories. Not because they want to, but because people there do not brag. In places like Maple Grove, people show who they are by what they do every day. They wave. They help. They show up. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room carries the loudest history. This is one of those stories. The community center smelled like fresh coffee and floor polish. Folded American flags stood against the wall. Metal chairs scraped softly as people sat down. Generals in pressed uniforms. Local officials in suits that still smelled new. Young aides flipping through notebooks. And moving quietly between them was an old man named Frank. Frank wore simple black pants, a white shirt, a faded blue apron. He poured coffee slowly, carefully, like time was something he respected. "Cream or black?" he asked. Most people did not look up. They just answered. Frank did not mind. He had learned long ago that service was not about being noticed. Frank had lived in Maple Grove his entire life. Born 2 streets over from the high school. Married his high school sweetheart. Buried her under the oak tree near the church. After she passed, Frank needed something to keep his mornings full. So he volunteered. School events, town meetings, blood drives, veterans' breakfasts, and today, a military leadership briefing. People thought Frank was just being kind. They did not know it was deeper than that. Service was the only language he had ever spoken fluently. Frank leaned forward to refill a general's cup. The light from the window hit his chest just right. A small silver medal flashed. The general froze. Not slowly. Not politely. Instantly. His hand stopped midair. "Where did you get that?" the general asked. The room went quiet. Frank looked down. "Oh," he said softly. "That." He hesitated. Not because he was afraid, but because he never knew how to answer that question. "I earned it," he said. "A long time ago." Chairs shifted. Eyes focused. Another general stood up. "That's a silver star," he said. "You don't wear that unless you did something extraordinary." Frank removed his apron slowly. Underneath was an old, carefully pressed uniform jacket. The generals stood. Every single one. They saluted. Frank did not move. He had not expected this. He never did. "I was 19, Frank began. Didn't know much about the world." He spoke of heat, noise, fear. He spoke of teammates who did not make it home, of choices made in seconds. "I didn't feel brave," he said. "I felt responsible." The silver star was for pulling wounded men to safety under fire. But Frank never used words like hero. "I just did what needed doing." Frank sat at the table now. Not as staff. As equal. "Leadership isn't loud," he said. "It listens first. You don't lead from the front to be seen. You lead so others feel safe to follow." The room was silent. Not because they were ordered to be. Because no one wanted to miss a word. By afternoon, Maple Grove knew. At the diner. At the post office. At the gas station. That old coffee guy. He's a war hero. Kids looked at Frank differently. Adults felt proud. Humbled. Frank kept doing what he always did. Helping. Pouring. Listening. That night, the town gathered at the park. Someone handed Frank a microphone. He didn't want it. But he spoke anyway. "This medal," he said, "belongs to everyone who taught me how to care about others." The applause was long. And honest. The next morning, Frank trained a teenager to help him. "Why do you still volunteer?" the kid asked. Frank smiled. "Because service doesn't end. It just changes uniforms." Frank still pours coffee. still listens, still shows up. And sometimes, when the light hits just right, a silver star reminds everyone in the room. That greatness does not always announce itself. Sometimes it just asks, cream or black?